Can someone please stop me from ever deciding to completely redo this board again, because it took a lot more effort than I expected it to. Hi everyone, my name's Chloe, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today. Today's video is my TBR for May. Every single time I forget what month it is. It's TBR M.A.S.H for May. TBR M.A.S.H is my TBR game. For anyone who maybe hasn't watched one of these videos before, I will give you a little bit of a rundown on how it works. But basically it is my TBR game inspired by the childhood game of M.A.S.H, which usually you would use to predict what your life is going to be. I use it to dictate my reading life. So each of these cards has a prompt on it. I use a random number to work my way around the board, eliminating a prompt each time until I've got one left on each section. That is the one I use to pick my TBR. You also then have got M.A.S.H in the middle, which in the regular version stands for mansion, apartment, shack and house. So in my version, mansion is a big book over 500 pages. Apartment is a small book which is under 300 pages, shack is a book you've been putting off, and house is a comfortable mood read. That's the basics of this game. There are some other rules to do with there are colours in each of the prompts, and if the same colour comes up twice I have to pick an extra. There are also some plus ones in there as well, but we get to those as and when we need to. What I do need to tell you though is that there have been some slight changes since previous rounds. So if you watched last month's TBR video, you will know that I didn't actually have much control in it last month because it was a 1-year anniversary of both my channel and the TBR game, and I decided to let my friends pick what books I was reading. Now I had enough prompts to fill this entire board. Obviously I did not use all of those prompts last month, so what I have done is these ones here, which are what I use if an extra comes up, are now the leftovers from the prompts that my friends have picked. So there are various books on here. These are actual titles of books rather than just random prompts. So if I get an extra, I have to read one of their books. And there are some that I am particularly terrified of. We all know I'm talking about one in particular that Liv picked, but we will see. It's going to come up at some point because basically my aim is to get to all of them at some point over the next year. Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. But last month I did actually manage to complete my TBR, or at least I will have done by the end of today. I'm actually filming this the day it's going up. It is the last day of the month. I have about 200 pages left of my last book, which I will be able to read this afternoon. So that means I do not have to take any punishments. I also was panicking at the end of March that I wouldn't finish that TBR, but I'd already filmed the TBR for April, so I thought I might have to add a punishment onto this video. But I also managed to finish my March TBR, so I'm absolutely fine. No punishments, we're good to go, which is good because this is, like I said, a whole new board. I have made all new prompts. I have made them a little bit more durable because the prompts before were getting a bit worse for wear, so these were all laminated. It's gonna hopefully run a lot smoother. But that means that there are all new types of prompts on here as well. I think I'd made 60 in total. So trying to make it a little bit more varied than it has been, because it seemed like a lot of the same prompts kept coming up again and again. Now those are still going to be on this board, but we have some extra ones as well. So I'm excited to see how this round goes. I do have a couple of things to tell you about before I start playing. I am taking part in 2 readathons this month. So the first one being this month's round of Royal Readathon, which is hosted by the lovely Becca and Liv. I will link both of their channels and the announcement video down below. It is a Disney inspired readathon, and this month we are doing couples. So each of the prompts is inspired by a Disney couple. You don't have to read romances for this. Some of them you do, because some of them are literally like enemies to lovers trope. But for most of them, you do not have to read anything with romance in. That being said, I just really want an easy reading month because I have a lot going on in June with reading plans, and obviously last month was completely out of my control, so it was a little bit stressful because I honestly had no clue if I was going to like the books that got picked, and I just want to have a bit of an easier reading month. So I haven't read a lot of contemporary in a while, so I have a fair amount of contemporary romances that I would like to read. Basically I've just kind of got out all the books I want to read. I'm going to try and fit them into TBR M.A.S.H, and then at the end of this video I'll go through my Royal Readathon TBR, and if I need to add anything extra on top of this I will do that. But I'm going to talk you through all those prompts at the end, but just keep it in mind that I will be doing that readathon. I'm also going to be doing Becca's 48-hour Bookopoly readathon, which is on the 21st and the 22nd of May. Now I am actually busy that weekend. I'm going to a concert in Milton Keynes, but I am travelling there by coach, so there is some time to read on the way. And also I've already actually picked my first book for that because For anyone who doesn't know, again, I'm going to link the announcement video down below, but Becca's Bookopoly is based on her TBR game, Bookopoly. And in the 48-hour version, every 12 hours, she puts out 2 dice rolls, and whatever prompts it lands on are the prompts you have to fulfill. Now, the first 2 dice rolls we already have. The second 2 will be at midday on the first day, then midnight, and then midday again. So the first 2, I believe one of them was a short book, and one of them was to read something with gods. I read Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller last month. I plan on reading Circe by Madeline Miller next month. Spoiler alert for something I'm going to try and fit on my TBR for next month. So I thought, why not in the middle read her short story that has been out for a while, I believe, but it's just been published as an actual like physical copy. It's called Galatea. I don't have a physical copy. I think I'll probably try and get it on ebook because it seems very expensive for like a 60-page book. But anyway, Madeline Miller writes Greek myth, Greek god retellings. So why not? It fulfills both prompts, and it's going to make it a lot easier when I'm trying to fit a readathon in around travel and a concert. Right, I think that is everything you need to know. I've already been rambling for 7 minutes, so let's just start playing, shall we? Okay, as always, I have got a random number generator. I set my parameters between 5 and 15, and this month we are using the number 12. Okay, so you guys don't need to see me count. Let's speed this up. Okay, we have our first prompt, which I'm going to struggle. These are harder to get off than the old ones were. Okay, the first prompt we have is mum pick, which means I can't actually pick a book for you right now because basically what I'm going to do is give a list of options to my mum and have her pick which one I read. This could be interesting. I generally try and give her things from like different genres so that it's not just like, these are all things I absolutely want to read anyway. I tried to give her ones that I'm more excited about reading, ones that I'm less excited about reading. I might just see if she's got anything in particular off the top of her head that she wants me to read. I will go and have a chat with her. She's downstairs, so I'll go and have a chat with her in a minute and see what she picks, but I'll probably come to you at the end of the video with an extra clip of what she has picked. She won't be on camera, so you're just gonna have to see me talk about what she's picked. But yeah, great. From going from last month's TBR where I had no choices whatsoever, the first one on here I still don't have a choice in picking. This is starting off well. Right, let's pick our second prompt. Okay, so we have now got our second prompt, which is going to be, let's try not to drop it, fantasy romance. Okay, so I don't read a lot of fantasy romance, and I mean I am wanting to read romance, I have said that, but I am also wanting to read contemporary romance. Now, I could pick something that you like think of when you have fantasy romance, things like From Blood and Ash, because I haven't read those yet. I don't know if I want to, but I could pick something like that. I could also just pick like basically any YA fantasy because most YA fantasies have romance in them. Yeah. I'm gonna go and have a think. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna go down the route that's a little bit more comfortable for me because I do want to get into more fantasy romance. That's why I've put this prompt on here. But I'm just not in the mood for a lot of the ones that are coming to mind at the minute. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go down the route of having a YA fantasy that has a romantic element to it because it is literally a Romeo and Juliet retelling. It's actually the final part in a duology. So, you know, I'm doing well. I'm finishing a series. I'm gonna be reading Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. So this is a fantasy book. There is monsters and things involved in here. It is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in 1920s Shanghai, but like I said, with a fantasy element to it. I did really enjoy the first one. I gave it 4 stars. I got the second one as soon as it came out, and I know what I'm like for putting off finishing series and reading sequels, so I might as well get it on this TBR while I can, and it'll prompt me to read it. So yeah, I'm going to be reading Our Violent Ends this month. This is not the like light and fluffy romance heavy TBR that I thought it'd be. But I have just remembered I picked really well because this will fit for a Royal Readathon prompt, which I'll get to in a minute. I've done well actually. Okay, I just had to double check the colours there because I always forget about the colours thing, but I have a green and a blue so far, so we're okay. No doubles yet. I'm really scared of these ones in the middle now. Anyway, let's pick our third prompt. Okay, we have got our third prompt, which is going to be, I have to pick another book. We have a 5-star prediction. It is blue, so I do have to pick another book. I should really like make it that those colours things, you have to pick them out more than twice, because every month I get at least one extra book, but the thing I know I quite like having like slightly bigger TBR, so I know I do it to myself. But anyway, 5-star prediction just has to be a book that I think will be 5 stars. I could pick something off of my 5-star prediction video, but I've also actually got quite a few books since then that I think will be 5 stars, so I could make a whole new 5-star prediction video at this point. So I think instead I'm just going to pick one that I think will be a 5-star that I want to get on my TBR anyway, so I'm just going to go and grab that. So for this one I'm going to be reading another Romeo and Juliet retelling, because apparently that's just what I'm doing this month, and I'm going to be reading An Arrow to the Moon by M.A.S.H. This is actually a beautiful sprayed edge version, which I'm very happy to have. I ended up with 2 copies of this book because this was one of my most anticipated releases of the year. Now I've seen a lot of people recently talking about this one and sort of reading the synopsis and going, oh, I'd not heard of this one, but it sounds interesting. This has been on my radar for a while because I really loved M.A.S.H.'s first book, The Astonishing Colour of After. It was one of my favourite books the year that I read it, and I've been eagerly anticipating her putting out another book, so I'm very happy to have this one. I had pre-ordered it, but then it came in a subscription box as well, so I have 2 copies, so I might as well get one of them read soon so I can make sure that I actually want the 2 copies. But yeah, it's a Romeo and Juliet retelling, again with some Chinese mythology in there and also with a magical twist. I don't think it's going to be quite as magical as Our Violent Ends, if The Astonishing Colour of After is anything to go by, because that one was more like a fabulism type book. It was a real world setting, but basically the main character was dealing with a bereavement and her grief kind of manifested in a magical way. I don't know if this is more fantastical than that. It doesn't seem to say it on the back. From the synopsis on the back, it feels like it might have the same sort of vibe, and yeah, I'm just really excited to read it. So we have our second confirmed choice for this TBR, and it is the second Romeo and Juliet retelling. Okay, we're gonna pick our 4th prompt and then we'll pick our extra and hope that it's nice to me. Let's just see how it goes, shall we? So we've got our 4th prompt, which is going to be a poll pick. Again, I'm having so little options this time. So I'm literally, like I said, filming this the day it goes up, and I need to film it and edit it, which means that I need to really quickly do a poll on Twitter and hope that some people respond to it. Right, bear with me 1 second. Okay, so I just put a poll up on Twitter. I've given it 2 hours, which is enough time for people to vote, but also for me to be able to edit this, because I'm going to have to film another clip of me just saying, this is a book that I've picked. But anyway, I've basically just given you guys a bunch of romances to choose from that I had on my radar. So these are a lot of ones that I bought in a shopping trip to the works last month, and then also ones that I got from the Illumicrate Afterlight box. So we've got The Roommate by Rosie Dannon, The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren, Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake, and then Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. I think all of these are ones that I want to try and read this month, but we'll see which one you guys pick. Okay, so again, a slightly strange TBR because I honestly don't actually know what I'm reading yet, but let's pick the last couple, shall we, and then we'll see how it goes. I'm going to pick the extra prompt now, and I really hope this is nice to me. Let's find out which of the books my friends picked I'm going to be reading this month. We just go with whichever one is the first one I land on for this. And okay, this isn't too bad. This is the Becca pick. This is Frostblood by Ellie Blake. This is a YA fantasy, I believe. I don't know too much about it. I just know that Becca really likes this series, and I know that Lisa read it recently and she really liked it. I do also know that Jem read it though a couple of years ago and hated it, so we will see. But yeah, I need to acquire this one because I don't actually own this book. Okay, I have some vouchers. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Right, by the way, though, that colour, because I know that's another blue, that colour does not count for this. That is from last month's thing. I just didn't make new cards. So let's pick M.A.S.H, shall we? That is the last one. I actually get some control over this one. This is definitely, no matter what it lands on, I have some type of control over it. So let's see what it is, shall we? Forgot actually, when you get 12, because I've had this before, it always comes up as M, which is Mansion, which is the big book, which is actually absolutely fine because, well, because you can probably guess what I'm going to put on this, because I've been reading at least one of these a month and I am now up to book 2 in the 4th series, which is the Rainwild Chronicles. I'm talking Robin Hobb, so I'm going to be reading Dragonhaven by Robin Hobb this month. This one I was going to be fitting in anyway. It is 570 pages, which is absolutely perfect. It's actually fairly small for Hobb because some of hers go up to the 900 page mark. 570, completely doable, no problem. I actually listened to the audiobooks for these as well, so it'll be fine. But yeah, I am glad that I've managed to fit this on my regular TBR. Right, so we've got our TBR M.A.S.H TBR. Now let us try and fit some Royal Readathon prompts, shall we? Actually, first, I'm going to go and find out what book I need to read as picked by my mother, and then I will come back, tell you what that is, and then I will go from there. And this TBR has thrown me for a loop. My brain is all over the place. I'll be back. Okay. So I've given my mum options. I gave her basically the options of 3 books that have come out in the last month that I got as pre-orders that I wanted to read sooner rather than later. They're all books by authors that I've read before. So there's no rhyme or reason. There's nothing that ties these together at all. I just gave them to her. So we've got With This Kiss by Carrie Hope Fletcher, Family of Liars by E. Lockhart, and The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. And she has picked... She's following my romance mood at the minute, which is great. She's picked The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. So this is about 3 women who are all waiting for their date to turn up. None of them turn up. And then somehow all these women find each other because the date that they're all waiting for is all the same guy. So it says 3 women, 3 dates, 1 missing man. I'm intrigued. I've read all of Beth O'Leary's books so far. This is her 4th one she's had out, and I like them all. So yeah, this is, because I had a new release I was going to get to soon anyway. So thank you to my mum for picking this one for me. So as of the time of filming this is my definite TBR. We've got An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X. Arpan, Dragonhaven by Robin Hobb, Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong, and The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. And then we are also going to have a romance book. So looking at the poll so far, there has only been 1 vote at the time of like me saying this, but the one that is in the lead at the minute, we'll just put for physical representation, it is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. So this is what my TBR is looking like, which is not actually too bad. We've got 2 like just full-on contemporary romance, possibly not that romantic, I'm not entirely sure with this one, but 2 of those types of ones. We've got two YA fantasy-esque Romeo and Juliet retellings, and then we've got 1 fantasy, but it's part of an ongoing series that I'm really interested in. So we're doing okay. Let me match up to some Royal Readathon prompts, shall we? Basically, this TBR is about to get a little bit bigger. So, I have the Royal Readathon prompts here. And for the first one, we have Mulan and Shang, which is a book with LGBTQ+ rep. So, I know one of those books in there does have an LGBTQ+ side character, but I want to pick a different book for this. So, I'm going to go and grab... To be honest, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give you options rather than a set TBR, because these ones I can mood read a little bit because they're not on my actual TBR M.A.S.H TBR. I just realised, by the way, when I showed you that pile, I did not even mention Frostblood, but that is also on my TBR, we know this. But anyway, back to the Royal Readathon prompts. For the first one, I have 4 options. So again, still got Delilah Green Doesn't Care. This one is a sapphic romance. If this one doesn't come up in the poll, I'm still likely to want to try and read it, so we'll have that one on there. I also have got Golden Boys by Phil Stamper. I got this one as a pre-order last month and I would like to read this one. The first part of the synopsis on the back says, Gabriel, Reese, Sal and Heath are best friends. When you grow up in the middle of nowhere, being queer and having big dreams will bond you for life. So definitely fulfills that prompt. We then have 2 books that I picked up on my last trip to London at a bookshop called Gates of Word, which is a LGBTQ+ bookshop in London. So these definitely both fit. We've got The Charm Offensive and Can't Take That Away. So any of these are going to work for LGBTQ+ rep, and we'll see which one I'm in the mood for, shall we? Okay, so the next one that we have is Ariel and Eric, which is a book with sailors or mermaids. Again, I have got 2 options for this. One of them is already on my TBR. One of them is one that I'm hoping to read. So let me just grab the one that is already on my TBR. Dragonhaven by Robin Hobb. So I was hoping this would fit. I wasn't sure if it would for definite, but I'm reading the first one in this series at the minute. Then there are a character that I mentioned that had have a ship and work on a ship, so definitely counts for this prompt. So I could use this one. I also want to read It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, and now I believe the love interest in that is fisherman, which will definitely involve boats, so I'm gonna count that, but we'll see. That one, if I can read it, this one I'll definitely be reading, so if not, this one. For Belle and the Beast, we have a book with forced proximity. So for this one, again, I've got a couple of options that I've already given as options for the poll pick. This is what I'm saying, like the ones on the poll pick, I'm probably going to read them all anyway. But The Roommate by Readathon will definitely work for this one. I really need to take that sticker off of it, it's really irritating me. But yeah, The Roommate, they are literally roommates, forced proximity. And I would say that The Unhoneymooners would work for this as well, because they end up going on a trip together, because basically the rest of the wedding party all comes down with food poisoning, so then these two people who don't really like each other end up having to go on the honeymoon, so that has got some forced proximity in there. So this one maybe, but one of those two will fit this prompt. You can double up, by the way, for Royal Readathon, so you might see one of those books come up again for another prompt later on, but I'm going to try not to double up unless I absolutely have to. That's why I'm kind of just giving you like a vague idea of what I'm going to use at the minute, and then what I'll probably do is at the end of the month I'll see what I've read and I'll fit which ones I need to. So then we've got Aurora and Prince Philip, which is a book with secret or forbidden love. So either of the Romeo and Juliet retellings are going to work for this. That is kind of the whole point of Romeo and Juliet, is that it is a forbidden love romance. So one of these two. And then also Becca actually put Frostblood in her recommendations video for Royal Readathon, so I know that that one also fits for this prompt. So thanks, Becca, for giving me that one on the TBR, because it's helped fulfill one of the prompts for your readathon. Thank you for that. Editing Chloe here. I missed one of the prompts. One of the prompts is Rapunzel and Flynn, which is a book with adventure, but I'm gonna guess that most of the fantasy ones that I picked for this TBR will fit for that. We then have got Tiana and Naveen, so this is a book that has enemies to lovers trope. So for this one, the Unhoneymooners, again, they do dislike each other before they go on this honeymoon, but I'm assuming that romance ensues, so enemies to lovers. And then I also believe that Delilah Green Doesn't Care would fit for this one, because it says in the synopsis that Delilah plans to breeze in and out, but then she sees Claire Sutherland, her stepsister stuck up bestie, and decides that maybe there's some fun and a little retribution to be had. So it sounds like they don't have the greatest relationship, but it is a romance, so this one should hopefully fit for that as well. And I also still want to read this one regardless of if it wins the poll. So we then have Cinderella and Prince Charming, which is a book with a ball or a party. Now this might be a little bit difficult until I've read these books. I can't tell which one's going to have a ball or a party in it, but I can tell you which ones I'm going to guess will fit the prompt. So again, An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X. Arpan mentions that graduation is coming up. So graduation involves a party, a celebration of sorts. You then have The Unhoneymooners again, which has a wedding, obviously. Family of Liars is a prequel to We Were Liars, and it's about quite a rich family, so I would expect that there is a party that they'll go to at some point in this book. Delilah Green Doesn't Care, also set at a wedding. So basically there are lots of these that have some sort of party type thing in them. Again, it'll just be a case of which ones have I read, which one's going to fit for which prompt, and like just doing sort of like the jigsaw puzzle that's going to need to be done for this. And then last but not least is Anna and Kristoff, which is a book that makes you laugh, which I feel like could be a lot of these. I'm going to be reading contemporary romance. I would expect that at least one of them will make me laugh, so I'll just pick which one I found funniest and put that one down for the prompt. So that is everything. I'm going to grab you like the books that I definitely have to read, and then all the other books that I want to read, and show you how it goes from manageable to slightly ambitious. Let's just show you. So these, plus the poll pick, plus Frostblood, my actual TBR. So there's a couple here that I haven't even mentioned, but I also have my eyes on reading, plus Frostblood, plus It Happened One Summer, and maybe even Hook, Line and Sinker. These are what I would actually like to potentially get to. I don't read this many books a month, but I just really, really want to do it. What I haven't mentioned though is I do actually have a week off at the end of May. I have the last week of May I have off. So there is some time to catch up on reading. But yeah, we will see. It's an ambitious TBR, but it's also stuff that's really easy to read because it's a lot of contemporaries. So that's everything. This was a weird TBR M.A.S.H video, and now I need to go and edit it in the next 2 hours before it's due to go up. By the way, update on the poll, spoiler alert, is now in the lead, so I honestly have no clue what I'm reading this month. Okay, so we're going to ignore Harry snoring in the background right now, but these are the final poll results, and it's a tie. So, seeing as though you guys can't decide, I'm also not going to decide, and basically it will either be The Unhoneymooners or Spoiler Alert. It could possibly be both, but I will be reading one of these books during the next month. Let's just leave it there. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down below, and I will see you guys next time with a new video. Bye.